Today's session we will discuss about the introduction part on the Snowflake site. Okay, here in this entire course, we will be covering Snowflake. We will be having the DBT session. Okay, Snowflake. Then we will have the Snowflake Cortex code. Cortex code is the new features that has been implemented by Snowflake, which will be helping you to create an entire pipeline, or which will be basically helping you to do everything just by using the prompt engineering. Okay, so you can write the prompt, and it is basically the Snowflake's own agentic AI. And what it does is basically it will be taking your normal languages, and it will create all the objects whatever you want in the Snowflake site. So that is one we will be learning. So we can do it with the skills, and also we'll be seeing that one, and along with that we will be covering the DBT part as well. So this is the entire course content. So we will be having the Snowflake session, we will be having then the Snowflake Cortex code session, and then we will be having the DBT sessions. Okay, I'm assuming you don't know anything about Snowflake, so from that scratch level we will be starting, and we go advanced level as well in our classes. We'll learn everything about Snowflake, whatever people ask in interview, whatever you need while you go for working in any project. Okay. Uh, this entire session would be interview specific. This entire session would be like your working experience, like how you work in the basically how we work in the real time environment. I will try to portray that one. And the third one is you will be able to clear the certification as well if you want, by using this entire course. And end of the course, I will be providing you a lot of interview questions, certification dumps. Okay. And basically, if you need any other documents, I will be providing every day's code script. Okay. And also, I will be providing you the one PPT, some documents, so by which you can read, okay, the entire things and all. Okay. So these are all the things we will be covering every day. First of all, what is Snowflake? Okay. So Snowflake is nothing but it is a data warehouse, right? So what is data warehouse? Data warehouse is a single repository where we get every data from the different source system, right? We gather all the data from the different source system. So that's what we call it as a data warehouse. Data warehouse is the single place where we get the data from the different source. If I take the basically, I mean, if I take a real consideration, for an example, let's say one XYZ aviation company, for an example, let's say Indigo, SpiceJet, they have decided, okay, whoever has traveled more than 10 times in last 3 months, they will be getting a 50% discount from the for their next travel. If they want to provide you this type of features, what they have to do, they have to take all the data and they have to do the analysis that who are all the customers, list down the customer name who basically traveled more than 10 times whenever in the last 3 months. Okay. Now, for an example, I purchased my ticket from some service providers. You purchase the ticket from another service providers. For an example, I purchased from Make My Trip. You purchase from another Skyscanner. So whatever, we purchase from different service providers. Okay. Now, these service providers has to send their data to Indigo's data warehouse, right? Because Indigo needs all the data, all the customers' data from different service providers, right? So that way you can think that different source systems sending the data to the Indigo's data warehouse so that all the data can be accumulated into a single place, and going forward they can do the further analysis, and they can take the business decisions based on those data, right? So that is the reason generally this data warehousing concept has been introduced. Data warehousing is nothing but it is a single repository where all the data has been accumulated, and going forward, those data, you guys, as a data engineer, you guys, what you are doing is you are preparing the data according to the business requirement, what business wants to see. For an example, if you order something by from let's say nowadays Big Basket, BB Daily, then Swiggy, Instamart. These are all the website. These are all the apps from where we basically order our food item, right? Our daily, regular, monthly shoppings we are doing, right? Now, whenever, let's say, for an example, you purchase some item from the Blinkit or Big Basket. Now, what they do, they immediately after 5 minutes, you see those items are there. The delivery boy delivers those items within 10 minutes, 20 minutes. How they are doing the delivery? Basically, in your city, in a particular locality, they have a hub, they have a warehouse. In that warehouse, they have all the items stored. Now, after that, whenever customer is asking any particular item, what they are doing, they are just picking the item from there, and what customer wants, according to that, they are delivering those items to their house, right? So, similar concept here also. Basically, we have a single repository where all the raw data, where all the basically, you mean you understood about the raw data. Raw data is nothing but the data which is directly we are getting from the source system. Those data is not polished data. Those data is not cleared data. Those data is not basically transformed data. Those data is completely raw data. It is a raw material. Now, once you get the raw material or raw data, then in the data warehouse, basically we get the raw data. Now after that, what we do is like what customer wants to see. Basically, raw data doesn't need by customer doesn't want the raw data. What they want is like they want is basically the meaningful informative data. For an example, I have sales data, I have customer data, I have payments data. Now customer doesn't want to see these data separately. They want to see what are all the customers purchased more than $1,000 in last 1 month? This type of meaningful data they want. Now, based on that raw data, what data engineer does, data engineer prepares the data for customer. Okay, and that is what we call transformation. And this entire thing happens in the data warehouse. Okay. So in data warehouse, we gather all the data, and then according to the business requirement, we prepare the data what business wants to see. And then those data we deliver to the business. That is how basically the data warehouse works. So okay, now Snowflake is also a data warehouse. Okay, it is a cloud data warehouse. Before going into the Snowflake thing, I will tell you one more concept here, that is called OLTP and OLAP concept. What is OLTP? For an example, you purchased a flight ticket from any one of the website. Now, whenever you purchase the flight ticket, or whenever we do any shopping from the online portal, the data, whatever data we provide them, I mean, the customer details, our details, then when we book the ticket, when is my journey date, what is my seat number, PNR details. These all the informations will be directly stored in a database. Those type of database which is connected directly with your online portal, we call them as an OLTP. OLTP is nothing but online transactional processing. Okay, now this database is mainly follows the RDBMS concept, and this database generally what happens here, whatever you do, that will be immediately affected in this database. Okay, let's say for an example, you purchased a ticket, so your customer details, how you did the payment, which channel you did the payment, okay, when how many tickets you have booked, let's say, what is your what is your booking date, what is your journey date. Each and every details will be stored immediately in a separate table in the OLTP database. Like what you do, you know, PLSQL means you work with Oracle, right? So in Oracle database, what happens, like we have different data, different table, and there the data goes and stores over there. Okay, So now after that, if you make any changes in your booking, for an example, you change the travel date, you change the all those things. So what happens, like these data directly immediately that will be updated in the OLTP database. Okay, so I mean, let's say you have canceled the ticket, so it will be immediately updated, and the seat will be vacant for the other people. Okay, so that is this type of database. Basically, we call it as an OLTP. This will contain current data, always constantly updated. If you do anything, delete any updation on the front end, it will be immediately affected in this database. Highly detailed data, it will contain day-to-day operations, and this is in a normalized form of data. Okay, now from this OLTP database, we push the data to the OLAP system. OLAP system is nothing but online analytical processing. This OLAP system is nothing but it's a data warehousing concept. What it does, as I told you, here we don't have the complete data. I mean, complete data in the sense this is constantly updated, and if there is any constant updating data is there, we cannot decide anything based on anything which is constantly updating. Always understand, if you want to take any decision, you have to take a decision, or you have to understand the behavior of your business, or if you want to understand the growth of your business, you cannot do the analysis on the data which is constantly updating or which is constantly changing element. You have to ignore if you want to take a decision. So first you have to get a static data, and on top of that you can decide something. That is the reason this OLTP database push the data to the OLAP system. This is nothing but data warehouse. As I told you, we get the data from the different source system. It can be database, it can be file, anything. Okay, so let's consider this is a database, OLTP database, and we get the data to the OLAP. Now, here we basically contains the historical data, because this OLAP is not directly connected with your online portal. Whatever is happening here, that will not affect here. It will affect here, but it will not affect here. With a particular interval, it can get the daily data, it can get the weekly data, it can push the monthly data. Okay, so with a particular interval, we push the data from OLTP to OLAP, which will be containing historical data, less frequently updated data. It is a summarized data. This data mainly used for the report and dashboard purpose or decision making purpose. And this is mainly denormalized data. Here we don't store the normalized data. Every data is acceptable, and we store here denormalized data. And this data finally gets connected or gets accessed by the your Power BI Tableau type of reports, and they prepare the dashboard, and that dashboard will be scrutiny by the business, and they will be taking the decision for the company's growth. So that is what the entire data flow diagram, or that is what the entire data flow architecture that follows by every project. Okay. Now, if you consider about Snowflake, Snowflake is nothing but it's a OLTP system. It is a data warehouse. Okay. Now, whenever I'm saying it's a data warehouse, so it's a cloud data warehouse. Okay. First of all, you have to understand this is a cloud data warehouse. Okay. Cloud data warehouse in the sense, this type of data warehouse basically deployed on cloud. They are not created on the on-premise system. Snowflake is nothing but it is a cloud data warehouse. Why we call it as a cloud data warehouse? Because Snowflake, whenever we create, see, Snowflake is not a software or not a system to configure or system to install. Snowflake is something which is a browser-based application. Browser-based application in the sense, like whenever, like how if you open your Gmail account, what happens? Like if you open your Gmail account, you select a user ID, you select a password, and you open your Gmail account. And by using that Gmail account, you wherever you go, you just open that URL gmail.com, and then you provide your user ID, password, and log in to that account. Right? That is how you work. Similarly, your Snowflake is also same type of browser based application. You don't need to install anything, you don't need to configure anything, just you have to open the account with the basically just you have to open the account and you have to work on it. Okay, so that is how basically it works. Okay, so that is the reason anyway. So whenever we open the Snowflake account, whenever we open Snowflake account, I will show you how to open. Whenever we open a Snowflake account, we need to deploy that particular account on any one of this cloud for either AWS or Azure or GCP. Any one of these three cloud you have to choose, okay, and you have to deploy your account on any one of these three cloud. You may deploy your account on AWS, you may deploy your account on Azure, or you may deploy your account on GCP. Now, whenever you are deployed your account on AWS, basically all the AWS services it will consider. I mean, it will take the services from the AWS. What services? Storage services and compute services. What does it mean? I will come here a little later. Before that, I will tell you a couple of things. For an example, this is a, as I told you, Snowflake is a cloud data warehouse. Why it is a cloud data warehouse? Because whenever we open the Snowflake account, this account will be deployed either on AWS, Azure, or GCP. What does it mean? That means the account will be deployed on the cloud and it will take all the cloud functionality or all the cloud benefits it will be using, because it has deployed the account on the cloud and everything will be on the cloud. Basically, all the cloud's benefits it will be taking, and that's the reason we call it as a cloud data warehouse. Not only cloud data warehouse, we call it as a SaaS product also. SaaS is nothing but software as a service. Okay. So you know, right? There are three type of cloud service are there. One is PaaS, platform as a service. Similarly, we have IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service, and another one is SaaS, software as a service. Snowflake is nothing but it is a software as a service. Why we call it as a software as a service? Because Snowflake, whenever we create a Snowflake account and we deployed the account on AWS or maybe Azure or maybe GCP, so what happens there after deploying that, Snowflake takes the services from them. What services it takes? It takes the storage services and the compute services. If you want to understand it in a better way, so I'll give you one simple example. For an example, let's say you want to, for an example, if let's say you want to travel from your home to your office, okay? Now you can go by two way. One, you can go by your own vehicle. For an example, you can go by your own vehicle, right? So if you are going by your, if you are going traveling by your own vehicle, so what you need to do is like you have to purchase your car right now. If you want to purchase the car, then what is the advantage? Advantage is nothing but the asset. It is your asset. It became your asset. Now car is become your asset. Now if you want, you can sell it, or if you want, you can rent it. So it is your asset. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing, what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is huge upfront cost is there. Huge upfront cost is there. Okay, and along with that, huge maintenance activities is there, right? Huge maintenance. These are all nothing but this is exactly the example of your on-premise data warehouses. On-premise data warehouses, you have to, or traditional data warehouses, you have to take the entire software, you have to configure the entire system, you have to purchase the hard disks, processors, and you have to configure, you have to configure the CPUs and all, and you have to maintain as well. Not only configuration, you have to maintain. If any server related problem happens, if any basically crash or something happens, or any backup recovery, these are all the things that you have to maintain. Okay, that is one thing. So now let's say you don't have the car, you want to go by taking the services from the other cab providers. For an example, in India we have Ola, Uber. So you just booked one cab and the cab came to a house, you just get into it, go to office, and how much kilometer you have traveled, according to that you pay. Now, in this case, you don't have the what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is that you don't have any asset, like you didn't earn any asset here. But at the same time, it has some advantages also. What is the advantage? No upfront cost. No upfront cost involved. Okay. Similarly, this is no maintenance activities are involved, right? No maintenance activities are involved. And also pay what you use model. Pay what you use. That means how much kilometer you traveled, according to you pay. This is exactly Snowflake follows. In case of Snowflake, you don't need to do any upfront cost. You don't need to do any maintenance activities. I mean, any backup, recovery. Okay, so these are all Snowflake handles. You just have to write a single line of SQL code. That's it. And then materialize view maintenance. Okay, data loading also can be automated. So these are a lot of things. That maintenance has no maintenance activities. You don't need to consider on the server level. Any server related problems happens and all. So basically, the cloud engineers will be taking care of it. I mean, AWS, Azure, GCP team will be taking care of it. You don't need to take care on the server related things. Okay. So that's the reason no maintenance activities are involved. Along with that, pay what you use model. Whatever you have used, you pay for it. This is nothing but your Snowflake concept. Snowflake also follows the same thing. Now the question is why I say Snowflake as a SaaS product, because Snowflake is taking the services from these cloud providers. Like we are taking the cab services from the Ola Uber. Similarly, Snowflake is taking the services, which services? Storage and compute services from this cloud. What does mean? That means whenever we write any insert command in Snowflake, whenever we write any insert command in Snowflake and we load any data into Snowflake, actually Snowflake does not have any storage capacity. So that will be surprising. So Snowflake does not have any storage capacity. Okay. What Snowflake does is basically whenever we insert any data into Snowflake, we as a user won't be able to understand where the data is going to store. But internally, what Snowflake does, whenever we insert any data into Snowflake, the data directly goes to the cloud and stored over there. So that means Snowflake is taking the storage services from the cloud. It is looks like this way. We as a user, we are storing the data into Snowflake, but Snowflake does not have any storage capacity. Snowflake sending the data to either AWS or Azure or GCP. Any one of these three cloud. On which cloud you have deployed your account, it is sending the data to that cloud. Okay, on which cloud you have deployed your account, it is sending the data to that cloud storage. So under the hood, Snowflake will be taking the storage from this cloud and it will be storing the user's data to that particular cloud. Okay. So that means Snowflake is taking the storage services from them, and that is the reason we call it as a SaaS product. Along with the storage, it takes the compute services as well. Compute is nothing but it is a processors of your Snowflake account. I mean, if you open your laptop, basically smartphone, everywhere you have two component, right? One is storage component, another one is processor component. Like if you don't have processors, you can't do anything with your mobile, with your smartphone, right? Similarly, if you don't have the storage also, you cannot do anything. You cannot store anything, any data, right? So basically, these two main components, these two important components that we have in Snowflake, and that both the component is basically services. It is taking from the cloud. So that is the reason we call it as a SaaS product. Like your Ola Uber, they have a platform. Whatever cabs are running in your city, they all are not owning by the Ola Uber. What they do is like they have an app, and by we as an user, we log into the app, and similarly, who has car, they log into that particular app as a service provider. Now we book a cab, we pay the amount to Snowflake Uber platform, they keeps the cut and remaining they pay to the car owner. Similar concept Snowflake also follows. We as a user, data engineer, data architect, data admin, we log into the Snowflake account. Similarly, at the on the ground level, Snowflake already deployed on this cloud. So whenever we need any resources from Snowflake, like your storage, compute, so basically these services Snowflake does not own these. What Snowflake do is like they takes the services from these cloud providers and they come fulfill our requirement without any complexity, without anything. Directly you can go to the AWS, Azure, GCP account and you can take the same thing from there directly. But in that case, you have to separately handle everything. You have to handle the storage separately, you have to handle the compute separately, and that will increase the complexity. And that is the reason Snowflake came into picture. Snowflake is bringing an infrastructure under the hood. It is having the cloud deployment. It is deployed on the cloud, and whenever user wants any resources, Snowflake is taking those resources from the cloud and supply. And we as a user, we are using that and we are paying the money, and Snowflake is keeping their own contribution, and then their paying the back to them those clouds. So that is the entire picture is happening internally. Okay, so the most important thing is here is the Snowflake does not have any storage or compute capacity which they are taking from those cloud, and that's the reason we call it as a SaaS product. And also, most important thing is pay what you use model. Snowflake follows the pay what you use model. What does it mean? That means whenever we use any storage, for an example, let's say I have used 1 TB storage, I will be paying only 1 TB storage only. I have used 10 GB storage. I will be paying only 10 GB storage only. I don't need to pay much. Okay, whatever I used, I will be paying for it. Okay, so that's how basically it works. Okay, so that's how it will be working. So basically the storage capacity and compute capacity, whatever we need, that we Snowflake takes from the cloud providers, and that's the reason we call it as a SaaS product. Okay, so anyway, so and this is what we call it as a pay what you use model. So that is how internally Snowflake works. Okay, now we have a Snowflake architecture that we need to understand. There are 3 layers of architecture we have in Snowflake. One is cloud service layer, another one is query processing layer, another one is database storage layer. Cloud service layer is nothing but it is a brain of the architecture. Like as in we have an as an human being, we have brain. Like whatever we are doing, whatever instructions are coming, that basically comes from the cloud layer, right? So similarly, sorry, whatever instruction we are getting, we get it from the brain, right? We are walking, sleeping, eating. So everything we are getting from the brain. Similarly, Snowflake is also having a brain, and that is what we call it as a cloud service layer. Here, all the authentication, access control, okay, optimizer will be available to optimize your query. Metadata manager will be available to control the metadata of your entire system. Security authentication also will be handled from the cloud layer. Okay, so this cloud layer basically it's a brain of the architecture. Entire part will be handled by the cloud service layer only. Whenever you write any queries, any update, any insert, any delete statement, it will directly go to the cloud layer, and from there it will be coming to the next 2 layer. Okay, so that's how it works. So cloud layer is nothing but it is a brain of the architecture. Second one is the query processing layer. Query processing layer is nothing but it is a data query processing layer. Here actually your data related activity complete. This is nothing but your processors. As I told you, no, 2 component. One is storage component, one is compute component. So this is your nothing but your compute part, compute layer. Okay, now this compute layer will have one or multiple virtual warehouses. These virtual warehouses are nothing but you can consider it as a CPUs, or you can consider it as a processing servers. Okay, I will tell you what is virtual warehouse, how it creates, what are all the different sizes are there, each and everything we will discuss. As of now, just understand this is the query processing layer. Query processing layer is nothing but this is the compute layer where we have one or multiple virtual warehouses, and these virtual warehouses are essential to run any data related activity. If your account does not have any virtual warehouse, you cannot execute any data related activity. Data related activity in the sense like selecting data, updating data, inserting data, deleting data. These are all the things will not be able to perform by using, without using these virtual warehouses. Okay, so that is what the query processing layer. Here, all the data related activities will be completed or will be processed. Okay, and the last one is the database storage layer. Database storage layer is nothing but this is the layer where exactly the physical data gets stored. Okay, so physical data, it is a physical layer of data. So physical data gets stored in this layer. Okay, so now this is nothing but your actual data stores. Where the data actually stores. So that is what the database storage. Okay, so this 3 layer combines your Snowflake architecture. Now, how query will be processed via this 3 layer, we will be discussing in our session. Uh, so we will be discussing in our session how the query will be processed through our layer. I will discuss this architecture part again in the coming sessions. As of now, just understand there are 3 layers, and this is the 3 layers we are working on. Okay. Now, let me open the free trial account, show you how to open the free trial account. For an example, let's say if I consider opening a free trial account, so I need to go to Google and I need to write here Snowflake trial. Okay, so if you write here Snowflake trial, so you will be getting a link here. So you can see this is the Snowflake trial link. So we will go here and we will provide our name. For an example, I'm providing my name. Work email, I will provide my email address. Okay. Uh, then we will be why we are signing up. Anything you can choose from here and you go to continue. Now you can see here it is asking for your school name and all. You can put anything. And after that, you have to choose the edition. There are total 3 editions are there: standard, enterprise, business critical. I will always prefer choosing the business critical because we will be learning here data replication, data processing, each and everything. And those are supported by the business critical layer. So you can go to the business critical layer, but don't choose the standard one. You can choose either enterprise or business critical. Standard one does not have these functionalities. Similarly, enterprise does not have these functionalities. Okay. Like your 90 days time travel period, multi-cluster warehouse, materials. These are all we will be covering in our sessions. And that's the reason we need to either create with the enterprise or to the business critical. I'm choosing the latest one. I mean, the upgraded one only, the business critical editions. Okay. Now you have to choose on which cloud you want to deploy your account, either with the Azure or with the AWS or with the GCP. So I'm going to choose the AWS. Anyone you can choose from here. But Cortex code and all, mostly it is supported for, as of now, they have implemented only for AWS. So I will prefer while you are doing the training and all, you choose the AWS so that all the functionalities you can learn properly. Okay. After that, we will go here and region. I will choose the Asia Pacific Singapore region. Whatever setup I am doing, do according to that. Don't do anything else. A lot of functionalities are not available across the region, across the cloud. So that's the reason. If you want to learn everything, so you should be choosing whatever setup I'm choosing. You choose the AWS from here, and you choose the Asia Pacific Singapore region. After that, I'll click on that and I will go for the get started. It will ask you 2 questions. You can either answer or you can skip it. Okay, so once it is done, then it will be basically sending an email to your email address. You can see an email has been sent to your email address. Okay. And if you come here and refresh, you can see you will get like this way, activate your Snowflake account. Now, if you come here and you see here, you have to click to activate button. You have to click on the click to activate button. And here you have to set up the user ID and password. So for an example, Snowflake ADM is the user ID I am setting up. You can do anything. Like I'm setting up Snowflake ADM. So you can give your name, your email address, whatever you want, you can provide here. Okay. After that, you have to give the password. And you can confirm your password. And then you can go for get started. Now you can see you have logged into your account and this is your Snowflake account. Okay. So after that, you can go to the project here. You can go to the workspace. Okay. And then you can simply click on the SQL page and you can open your worksheet. You can click on the SQL file and you can open your workspace, and here you can write every command. Okay, these are all the database already provided here, and this is for provided for your learning purpose. You can see Snowflake sample data, a lot of tables, lot of things are there. You can see here a lot of tables are there. You can utilize these tables for your basically activity purpose, for your learning purpose. Okay. Or you can, if you want, you can create your table here and you can insert the data. Each and everything you can do from here. We will learn each and everything from here. Okay. And basically you just create a free trial account and we will start doing all those things here. Okay. We will explore whatever is needed from here. Okay. So in our classes, we will explore each and everything. We will write the code over here. We will be selecting the virtual warehouses. We will be selecting the database, each and everything we will be doing. I'll show you the entire thing later. So as of now, till today, we are basically we're learning till here. And in class, we will start from the database, table, schema, and each and everything from the scratch level. We will be continuing. Okay.